Mr. Vice Chancellor, in the name and by the authority of the University Court, I have the honor to present the distinction of University Benefactor to Mr. Majid Jafar and Mrs. Lynn Bahout Jafar. Majid Jafar was educated at Cambridge University and Harvard Business School and is the CEO of Crescent Petroleum and Vice Chairman of the Crescent Group. Lynn Bahout Jafar was educated at the American University of Beirut and the Cass Business School in London. However, the story that brings Majid and Lynn here today began with the birth of their first child, Aliyah, in 2014. Aliyah was born a happy young girl, but within 3 weeks, she started having seizures, often 10 in a single day. Within months, Majid and Lynn received the news that Aliyah had a rare neurogenetic disorder called CDKL5 deficiency syndrome, or CDD. The diagnosis of CDD started a whole new journey for Majid and Lynn. To put the journey in context, I need to first tell you a little bit about CDD. CDD is a disorder of brain development and is characterized by severe epilepsy, intellectual disability, and a range of motor problems. Like Aliyah, most CDD individuals, about 90% of whom are girls, suffer from seizures that begin in the first few months of life. Most cannot walk, talk, or feed themselves, and many are confined to wheelchairs. Many also suffer from sensory and gastrointestinal difficulties. CDD individuals will be dependent on people throughout their life. To understand the cause of CDD, it is first important to know some facts about our genome. Our DNA is made up of 3 billion base pairs that can contain the code for life. We inherit half of this genome from our mothers and the other half from our fathers. During the formation of the egg and sperm, or during the process of combining the two genomes, some errors are introduced in all of us. In fact, we all contain about 200 of these genetic alterations. We can think of these as typographical errors in the code of life, and they are one of the main mechanisms that drive evolution. Most of these typos do not have serious consequences, but some, especially when they occur in genes, have devastating consequences. CDD is an example of a genetic disorder that results from one of these typos in the gene for CDKL5. Overall, if we add up all the rare diseases with a genetic basis, they affect about 17% of the population, similar numbers to what you would expect for cancer. However, there's one major difference. Rare diseases, especially those affecting the brain, have few, if any, treatments, and they usually start to show their effects in children. When Aliyah was born in 2014, we knew very little about CDD and less about CDKL5 function, especially in the brain. There were only about 70 published papers describing CDD, and the majority were the clinical descriptions of kids affected. In 2015, Majid and Lynn threw down the gauntlet to the scientific community that in 5 years, we should have improved treatments for CDD, and within 10 years, there should be cures. To achieve this bold ambition, and with incredible generosity and foresight, they established the Loulou Foundation, so named because that's the nickname of their daughter, Aliyah. Indeed, while I have referred to CDKL5 deficiency disorder throughout this laureation, it is only through their efforts and the efforts of the Loulou Foundation and the families with children that it received its own clinical indication and global health code, having previous up to that point being referred to as atypical Rett syndrome. Since 2015, the Jafar family and the Loulou Foundation have awarded nearly 100 research grants totaling $16 million to over 60 laboratories on 4 different continents. The grant support has enabled research on everything from understanding the fundamental biology of CDKL5 to cutting-edge therapeutic research on gene therapy and genome editing. While disease-modifying cures for CDD are on the horizon, the first novel therapy specifically approved for CDD-associated seizures entered phase 3 clinical trials in November of 2020 and was approved by the US FDA in March of 2022. This was quickly followed by endorsement by the European Medicines Agency earlier this year. Moreover, a second CDD-focused phase 3 trial for a different anti-seizure drug is currently underway worldwide. I performed a quick PubMed search yesterday that revealed over 600 published articles covering everything from the function of CDKL5 to potential clinical interventions for CDD. So the challenge that Majid and Lynn set this scientific and clinical community in 2015 has been embraced with both hands. It would not have been possible without the inspirational and generous support of Lynn and Majid. If you notice throughout this laureation, whenever I spoke of CDD, I spoke of the families and the need for multiple treatments. Majid and Lynn always stress the use of plural, since no single treatment is likely to be effective in all people. It is this spirit of community that have driven Majid and Lynn to transform the landscape for helping children and families cope with these rare genetic disorders. Therefore, I'd like to highlight one more initiative that has been led by Lynn called High Hopes. Based in Dubai, this is a not-for-profit pediatric therapy center for children with moderate to complex special needs. It offers physical speech, language, and occupational therapies. The Under One Roof Center opened in 2017 with the overarching aim to be a single point of contact for families around the world who have children in great need of support and intense physical therapy and therapeutic interventions. Like the entire CDD community, the University of Edinburgh has benefited enormously from the generosity of the Loulou Foundation, receiving funding that has allowed us to play our part in understanding the role of CDKL5, from its role in brain cells to understanding how it regulates behavior in CDD. Personally, it has been an honor for me to be part of the Loulou Foundation's amazing journey. I am hopeful that there will be rational, effective treatments for Aaliyah and all the children like her and the families living with CDD. Mr. Vice Chancellor, in recognition of their contribution to the University of Edinburgh, I now invite you to bestow upon Mr. Majid Jafar and Mrs. Lynn Barhout Jafar the distinction of University Benefactor.
By the authority vested in me, I award the Loulou Foundation the distinction of University Benefactor. Congratulations. Thank you.